Welcome to the River Cruise Masterclass. I am Sydney Schellinger, your host, and today we have a super exciting episode live on the river. I will be joined by our guest, Pete, who is an AmaWaterways cruise manager. So please listen along as we hear about his job and some of the amazing things he gets to do following his dreams. Perfect. I'm going to do this for the 3 people that watch me on
On
Facebook Live.
Good.
All
so
right.
we're not editing.
I don't know.
It's going to be live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Good afternoon. We are on our last day of the amazing Ama Viola doing the Taste of Christmas on the Danube. And I've had an amazing time. We are in Budapest. Of course, the weather's not cooperating, so you can't see the background, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So today I have asked our cruise manager, Pete, to come on and kind of talk about his role and how he just does everything of those special touches to make a cruise absolutely amazing. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so why don't you do a little introduction on your role and how you got started with Ama?
Sure. I started with Ama in 2006. I was working as a guide in Austria, and I had a boss that was going to change, and I knew who my new boss would be, and I really wasn't happy about that. So I told with my wife. I said, I'm looking for a new job next year. And we had a friend came through in the winter time. She asked my wife what I was doing, and she said, actually, he's looking for something different. And I'd been where I was for a long time. And she said, oh, maybe he wants to try river cruising. There's this little company which is starting up. And so I sent an email. And a week later, I went for the interview in Vienna. And a week later, I was on a ship watching a colleague. And then a week after that, it was me. So that's where we started. And the role on board as a cruise manager, it's a number of different facets. It's basically looking after the cruise guest focused, but everything involved with it, So it's a chance to get to know the guests, but to look after the guests from the start to finish. Your main priority is, of course, their well-being and their safety. And then after that, it's if you can make them smile.
I think you're underplaying this, though. You were one of the first cruise managers for AmaWaterways.
Yes, I was in the first 4, actually. When I started, there was one ship, Armadagio, beautiful, and there was 4 of us. And all 4 still work for the company today, actually, which is great. So, and none of us can leave now because then we would be the first ones to leave. But luckily, we're in a company which really, really, really rewards loyalty. You even have had a bonus in the past which specifically said that this is not performance-based. It's just because you've been around for a long time.
Also, you know too much now.
Very much. Very much. Yes. There's only one way for me to leave. It's in a bag. Yeah. Yes.
Rudy,
but it's been wonderful. Yeah. I know there's microphones in here anyway.
Yeah.
Rudy is listening and watching.
We love you. We promise.
Yeah. No, he's fabulous. The best thing you can do is a cruise with either Rudy or Christine on the ship, because you don't need to ask anyone for a yes or a no. You just say, Rudy, is this okay? And if he says yes, that's it.
No one's going to say no to him.
No, that's it. And on the cruise report, you just write okayed by RS. And everyone goes, whoa. Or Christine, AK said okay.
Yeah. I believe that. So what are your, how, with the guest interactions and things like that, what are you doing to do those sort of special moments throughout the ship for them?
It's a combination, really. I take a lot of credit for a lot of other people's work, really, which is wonderful, and I like that. But of course, if someone's on board and they're celebrating an anniversary or birthdays and things like that, which many people come for, a birthday or to celebrate an anniversary, especially a round anniversary, it's a 60th wedding anniversary or it's a 50th birthday or something like that, then we make a big deal about that. But a lot of that information we get from before, not to burst anyone's bubble, but we get that information from before when people book, also from different sources, passports and things on board the ship. So we can try and make their cruise individually as special as we can. Often it would mean having a dinner here in the Chef's Table restaurant. That normally coincides with when they're celebrating. I know tonight, for instance, we have birthdays in here as well. So we try and get to all the birthdays individually, but someone will. But you can have 6 or 7 on a night. So it's so long as that person feels special, then that's the main thing. Anniversaries too, we have music and cakes, and we go through humiliation, basically.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
I was going to say, because when I was in the chef's table, which we forgot to mention is actually included on AmaWaterways,
Yeah.
it is one of those little special touches. You have a 7-course tasting menu. It's absolutely amazing. The couple who brought their whole family, it was her birthday. And it was so cute because she had all of her grandkids around her and they were able to celebrate. She was crying. I got a little teary-eyed. But it's such a great experience to kind of be able to do one of these cruises together. And it's nice that you do allow kids up to over the age of 4 so that they can be included in that sort
it's
of
really,
interest.
particularly Christmas, we get multi-generational. So often you'll get grandmother, grandfather, parents, and then children, which is what we've got this cruise as well. And that is very typical for Christmas, and it's fabulous because it's, like you say, you get those touching moments and kids running around with their grandma and all that. And of course, the crew on board, they get very heavily involved with that as well. I know the chef who is out here in the chef's table restaurant is basically kidnapping one of those children every day. So,
I've been noticing that.
yes, Nelu is, yes, it's going, yeah. But there'll be tears tomorrow when people depart, I'm sure. That always happens.
I know, but it's so cute. Especially we had Santa yesterday. I don't know if I was more excited or the kids were.
Yeah, and everyone gets a gift, and it's great. It brings back happy childhood memories. So even if it's a couple that have got no children with them at all, they are still sitting on Santa's knee for that photograph. That's just what happens.
Of course, yeah. I did it. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, I know.
about.
I know.
Twice.
Yeah. Yes, we've got it on CCTV.
Yeah, perfect. So what about those like customized experiences, like how you've like tailored something for a client and like an excursion or just like an event based on what was going on with them? Have you done anything like that?
Yeah, it's the best thing for us. The best thing for us is always notice, because if we've got notice that something needs to happen, the sooner we know about that, the more that we can do about it. And it's an example of that would be, I had a guest who had served with the US military at the end of the Second World War, when Austria was still occupied by the Americans, part of it anyway. And we went to find his barracks where he had stayed, which is just near Linz, actually. And we could find the barracks. He had a vague memory of it, but I spoke with some local people in Linz to where this barracks is. And actually the barracks still stands. It's now used by the Austrian army. And he was able to go back there, share some stories, some memories, take some photos. So it's little things like that. Obviously, if someone tells you that on that morning, then that can be a challenge. But if you know that from 2-3 days out, then you can usually try and connect or make it happen. Or even people finding houses, the people that had to flee when the Nazis were coming into power, coming back to Würzburg with a couple, they went back to find the family home and things like that. So it's wonderful for you too, actually.
Yeah.
But it's, as long as you know, then you can help.
I was going to say, that reminds me, well, the cruise line we don't talk about.
Yeah.
I was on it and we had someone whose family was actually the Heidelberg family and we were on the Rhine. But I had let the cruise line know and they weren't able to do anything because they don't do any of those like specialized things, which I was thinking about if we were on Ama, how we could have been able to do a more like personalized experience into the Heidelberg area. Yeah. Just those little extra touches that Ama does. But we don't talk about the other cruise lines.
No.
I can, he can.
Yeah.
Okay, so your role just sounds too easy, to be truthfully honest, just being able to do all the fun stuff and see everyone. But I know there's so much more to it. So like, what about the logistics? What goes into planning all of these perfect days that you do, the excursions, like making sure everything runs so that we as the guests feel just like it's butter? It's
a lot of the feedback that we get, and we really emphasize trying to collect feedback at the end of every cruise. And through that feedback, you get to see a pattern about particular tours, how they work. Is there enough free time? Not enough? What should we include? What shouldn't we include? Where should we visit? What shouldn't we do? So it gets boiled down with feedback into the tour that we offer. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to please everybody all of the time because some people really enjoy free time. Other people are lost when there's free time. So that's the hardest part of it, and seeing what people actually want. So we have tried here in Budapest. We've tried probably 15 different tours and have ended up with the tours that we do now. If we get new suggestions, we try again. But we visited many, many places here. But we end up back where we are with the tours that we run, particularly for this. When you've got Christmas markets to visit as well, you're hemmed in. You have to go and visit the Christmas markets, even though this week we visited 14.
I don't even know how.
This afternoon. And that is still skipping a few, but that needs to be factored into it as well. I mean, and logistically, really, we have a framework of how many, we never want to overload buses or guides. And so we have a framework which is not coming from me, where once we get over a certain number of people, we get a second guide or a second bus. We get a third bus or a third guide. And what that means is you've got space on every tour that you do. And typically you won't have really much more than 20 or 25 guests per guide as a maximum. And that people enjoy that as well. It's, all of that is basically, it's a multiplication that comes through an Excel program. As soon as we see this amount of people have booked this tour, a second bus gets booked, a second guide gets booked. And wherever we can, we always have a gentle walking guide too. So this is someone to look after those that really are going to have trouble with the cobblestones or the steps, or because Europe can be a challenge if you've got a new hip or a new foot or a new knee or something like that.
I will say on top of that, it's so nice that the buses aren't full. So as you said, like, it's a bus of 45 people and you're only putting 25 so that I can have a seat to myself and my stuff can have a seat and things of that nature. But also you do active, which is something that's becoming more popular as we're getting more younger people into river cruising, and younger as in like in our 30s and our 40s, where we want to be able to go faster than the average person, or the bike rides, which I failed at. Pete here gave me the look, said, girl, you cannot do it. And I said, yes, I can. Yeah. And I got halfway through, a quarter, but then I came back. So I consider it half.
Yes. Yeah. I would say so too. She didn't pick the nicest day.
I didn't even have the view to look at.
Yeah. Very cold, wintry day to go cycling. But we have had people cycle every day that we've offered a bicycle tour, which at this time of year is kudos to them, I would say, because it's quite cold. And one of them, they set off in the rain and still went. But it's, we try and cater for everybody, which includes the active group. So for instance, today we have a fantastic hike in Budapest because we can use what's there. The hike guide's great. The guy that was here with us today is a local guy called Akos, and he takes the people away. They go all the way up to the Buddha Castle, but when they come back, they can then use the public transportation. He has a book of tickets so they can all catch the streetcar back. So it gives them a whole other experience as well. The biggest thing is people knowing which group they could really go in. That's so long as the people in that group can hike, then it's a fantastic day. If you're in a gentle group, then that guide will be looking after the speed of that group as well. So you're just trying to cater for the individual, but you are relying on them a little bit to know their condition or limitations. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I can't allocate. It's up to people to decide. I can look at that cyclist and say, that's a long way. But if they want to go, they go. That's the way it is. Yeah.
There was a part of me that wanted to push through just because they're like, are you sure you can do this? Sure. But then I just thought about how miserable the rest of my trip would be if I did that. So I decided not to.
No. Yeah. And that also, you picked the right bike ride to do that, because we do have some bike rides where you're physically cycling from dock to dock as the ship sails. That's not such an easy one to turn around on. You're fully committed. You're fully committed on that.
I would have been like a half mile behind everyone else. Yeah. I'd be like, can I just get an Uber?
Yeah. Yes, it has happened.
It would have been me.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so what about like just the team collab? Because you have an amazing group on here, and you switch out every time, right? Because the cruise managers will actually, if you do a pre and post with Ama, it's absolutely amazing. The cruise manager will be with you, so you get to be, learn about them. You don't have to worry about there being like new people to meet and to have that sort of thing. Or if anything happens, like everything from point to finish is with Ama. So like, how does that work with you? Like stepping on a new cruise every other week, basically.
It's the way that Ama works is they look at the whole pre and post. If a cruise has got a pre-cruise and a post-cruise extension, they look at that as a cruise. So they don't just look at the actual time on the water. And so the cruise manager will be allocated for the pre-cruise stay. This cruise doesn't have a post-cruise, or we would be doing that. The pre-cruise stay, and then you're taking people all the way until they're departing. So if they're flying out from Prague on a post-cruise stay, the cruise manager's up to see them off in the morning before they make their way to the airport. So you're not handing 99% of the time, you're not handing guests over to a host. Not that there's anything wrong with a host, but you're not handing them over to somebody else. It's you take them all the way from the start to the finish. And for the cruise manager too, it's a wonderful thing because you get to know the people. You get to know what they're going to enjoy, what they're going to like, what they're not going to like, what they won't want to do. And then that way it works out better for everybody. It's the more people you can get on a pre-cruise, you can feel that on the first day of the cruise itself. Because if you've had 100 people on the pre-cruise and you've got to know them and they've got to know you, by the time they arrive at the ship on an embarkation day, all the staterooms are ready, the ship's all been cleaned and ready for you as well. And these people are happy and ready to go. So it's that's your ideal situation for us. Yeah, it works well.
And I will do a plug that Ama is then releasing the free land when you get a cruise. If you've done a river cruise with Ama, it starts December 3rd, but for everyone else, it's January 1. Don't break that, no. Which I'm very excited about. But I know I wanted to do a pre, but I had other responsibilities.
Yes.
But I'm going to throw you a softball here because I'm very excited about what's happening tonight. So like the cultural connection to the places we're going to be at, like what does Ama do to make sure that we're getting involved in the local, things of that nature?
We try and we do it through menus as well. There will always be food or items which are on the menu which are connected to. So for instance, today at lunch.
Goulash. I had it too. It was so good.
The trouble with today is, and it's always the problem here, is it's the same day that we have the faux soup. So it's really tough which one you're going to have. But it's the goulash, that's your little taste of Hungary. We don't just put a whole Hungarian menu because maybe that's not your style of cooking. But if you are interested in trying traditional Hungarian goulash, then that would be something on the menu for you to do. Also this afternoon, we have an amazing troupe Hungarian folklore show. They come on board. And this is a group called Hubei is the name of that company. They travel the world doing Hungarian folklore shows, cultural events and things throughout the world. And they come on and they do a little hour show for us. Fantastic, very interactive with the audience as well. Lots of color, traditional costume, and they've got your attention as soon as they start. They're full of energy. I've never seen them come and go, don't feel like it today. And then they will be off. And then we sail, and we're going to sail up just because of the time of day and the fact that it will be dark. We'll be able to see the lights of the city of Budapest as we make our way up to our disembarkation docking location. So really, we've only got the whole day here, day and nights, but we pack as much in as we can.
Yeah, well, because you did a lot of things as well, because we had the musicians come on and do the classical music when we were in Austria and kind of experiencing that sort of thing. But it's just those fun little things that you do on top of just the additional shore excursions that are included, like the Taste of Bavaria and doing all those other fun things, which is great.
Yeah, it's been a conscious decision, I think, to try and involve people in it. Tasting tours are always popular tours to do. Not everybody wants to do a walking tour of a city. That they want something different, something offered where they've got a bit of a choice, which we try and do. So all of our tours, apart from something like a concert in Vienna, which you may not wish to go to. So everything that we think everyone would like to do is included. And so, for instance, on this one, we have the big Christmas market in the middle of Regensburg, which is a town we visited. And it's a lovely Christmas market to visit. It's open to the public. Everybody's happy to go. But there is also a private Christmas market at the Palace of Turn and Taxes. So we run buses for that. We have the tickets because you need to pay entrance. We have the tickets. We can give that to all of the guests so that they can go and enjoy that as well, which is they're little touches, which I think it's the same as when you arrive at the Christmas market at Maria Therese in Vienna. The guide has a little voucher to give you, and then you can pick up your own Glühwein. Your Glühwein mug is there too. So it's little things like this that I think guests with us come with us, and they think every company does that. But they don't, I know. But then they assume they do because we're doing that. But we've always done things like that. It comes from the owners of the company. They want people to really enjoy themselves.
I will say the mug that they actually give out, though, is the little boot. And so everyone's like, I was going to buy this anyways. So it's so cute. I love it.
Yeah. And different every year. The boots, the cups, the mugs they have are different every year. Well.
Okay, but the boot was like perfect.
Yeah. Boots are winner. Yeah.
The boot is a winner.
Boots are winner.
I always had my coffee this morning with it.
Yes. Yeah. People just complain because it's full of Glühwein and then you get to keep the boots and that it's not big enough. It should be a bigger boot. But it seems to work. And I had one guest yesterday. Everyone. She came back to the ship. We have a British couple on board and a wonderful couple. They'd lost their luggage at the start of the cruise, but we managed to get it back for them. And then yesterday she got off and she said she's all embarrassed. And I said, why? And she said she hadn't had enough for breakfast. And then she was drinking Glühwein in the morning and she was a bit tipsy. So her husband was having to escort her to her stateroom so she could go and lie down.
Naps are fine too. I'm sure she got some good shopping done that way.
She felt better later. Yes. Good fun. good fun.
So what are your like favorite ports that you've done? Since you've basically, I'm sure, have just cruised the entire Europe, all the rivers.
I think my favorite part of river cruising is actually cruising during the daytime. I love daytime cruising.
Okay.
If I ran the company, we would stop anywhere, but that's why I don't run the company. But when it comes to specific places, Vienna's my favorite city, second favorite city in the world behind Melbourne for obvious reason. But I do really enjoy Belgrade, which is one of the stops if you do a lower Danube. Belgrade is a wonderful city. It's another capital city you can add to the capital cities on the Danube. It's sort of your fourth Danube capital. And it's just an amazing
Well, isn't
place.
Bucharest? You could do that one too, right?
Yeah, you could, but
It's not technically on the river.
Technically on the river. Yes. No. Not it has. They wanted to build a canal to go out to it, but it didn't get there. But Belgrade, Bucharest is also a lovely city. There's cities that aren't so visited, I suppose. Somewhere else which is not on the river, but a port of call that we have, which is a wonderful place to visit, is Krakow in Poland. On my next cruise, I go there for a 3-day pre-cruise. Beautiful hotel called the Saski. And then we come down to Budapest and join the ship there. So they're wonderful too. I mean, I love it. South of France. It's beautiful to go to Arles. I've always really enjoyed Arles and Avignon in the south of France. So Lyon is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Just goes on. Porto in Portugal is amazing.
Okay, I'm trying to get a Portugal group in 2026.
Brilliant.
The only thing but that one is just like all the buses and things like that. So some people have like the different mindset. Yeah. But I feel like the daytime cruising would just be absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. And you can only cruise in the day.
Yeah.
On that cruise, you can't cruise at night.
What cruise does the 3 days in Poland though?
Poland, this one is called the Majestic Capitals of Europe. And we do 3 nights in Krakow at this wonderful hotel. We have a drive to Budapest. It's a beautiful drive though. We go through the Tatra Mountains.
Okay.
Lovely. Hungarian buses come and pick us up. So you do 3 countries that day because you drive through Slovakia on the way to Hungary. Then we embark in Budapest. It's only 5-night cruise. So we do Budapest, then we'll go to Bratislava, which is the capital of Slovakia. And then after that, we go to Vienna. And then from Vienna, we do the post-cruise in Prague. So they're the 5. And we go to Brno on the way too. That's another one which is lovely. Brno is the second biggest city in the Czech Republic. Fantastic Christmas market there as well. Really, a little bit off the beaten track. Obviously, you're on buses to do these things because there's only so many rivers in Europe. But I've never had a problem with bus travel. I used to work on buses, so I'm happy letting someone else drive, sit up the back, see the sights. But Krakow really is. If you haven't been, boom, go.
Poland is on my list.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Friendly people, lovely place. Yeah.
But I say everywhere is on my list. It just depends on why.
Yeah. But it was never bombed, It's like Prague. It's like Prague 10 years ago. It's this original medieval city.
So if you kind of want Prague, but it's overcrowded right now, you would say go to...
Yeah, I think if you enjoy Prague, then you would enjoy Krakow.
Okay.
Because it's similar. There's a little airport. It's only half an hour from the city. So it's very similar to Prague, even similar to Budapest in a way. But you've got that medieval feel in the center. The old town is amazing. Yes. And of course, too, then you're doing sites. You can go to Oskar Schindler's factory, which is amazing. He's an enamel factory from Schindler's List and things.
Okay.
We do the day tour out to Auschwitz as well, which is very moving for many. It's one of those things people think they should do at least one time in their life. So it's a great pre or post cruise.
Yeah. You can't learn from history unless you know about history.
Sit, and when it's just there.
It's one of those days that you're not going to be able to do anything else.
No. But really, an amazing experience for people to go. Really. Look deep into themselves.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what are some of those like heartwarming stories since we're keeping on that theme? Like what is
heartwarming?
Yeah.
Yes. One I always go back to, which happened a couple of years ago, and it was during the COVID time when, of course, people were booking and cancelling. We had a cruise that's left from Budapest, and we were meant to be going up and stopping at all of the sites we did on this cruise as well, except we were going to do Bratislava and then Vienna and then make our way up to Nuremberg. And because the Austrians had decided to close their border, the people could cancel if they wanted to and be refunded their money, which was great. But our boss, Rudy, he's like that. So people had this choice. So in the end, out of, I think, 85 people, we ended up with 11 on the ship. Everyone else had cancelled. The 11th thought, I want a holiday, I'm going. And so they came. And the 11th guest on board, she was a little 9-year-old called Lexi, her name was, and she was just traveling with her mum. Her mum was a single mum, and she thought she was a unicorn. And so we had such fun. She'd leave me drawings every day on my desk, and And because of her, I think really it was a Christmas cruise as well. Everybody could sort of lighten up and go back to enjoying Christmas because we had this little unicorn running around the ship. So that is the most touching one I think of recently. I still have drawings from her in my diary that she drew. Of course, now she'd probably be 14 or something, 13 like that by now. But it was an amazing time. And luckily on that, as we left from Bratislava, thinking we were sailing for 2 days, without stopping, Austria opened its borders. And so we got to stop in Vienna. We were the first ship into Vienna. We were the first ship into Mel and the first ship into Linz as well. So it was, in the end, we went everywhere we should have gone. We just didn't really know we were going to.
Well, you had to have the magic of the unicorn.
We had the unicorn.
Yes.
I think.
How
Lexi
cute
was the one.
is that, though? I
No, it was
absolutely
fabulous.
love
Really.
it.
Wonderful time.
Oh, my goodness.
You meet amazing people. Amazing people.
Have you had any unexpected adventures when it comes to being a tour manager? I mean, you've been doing it for 19 years. There has to be great stories.
I know. But sadly, the memory fades as you get older. Everyone says you should have written a book, and I'm thinking, actually, now I probably should have.
You could have a ghostwriter do it.
Yes. You have a lot of experiences that are not necessarily expected from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it can even just be what happens on the ship. We had arrival day and a group had arrived and they were standing on one side of reception, and then some other people had arrived by taxi and they were on the other side of reception. There's two quite senior gentlemen on either side of reception, and one goes, "John, is that you?" And John turns around and goes, "Bob, is that?" And these guys had been through medical university together and hadn't seen each other since. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, 50 years later, there they are in the reception, the lobby of our ship. So that for them, it was fantastic. They had the whole week together. And I'm sure that when they went home, they had
became
rekindled
Facebook
this. Oh, they could, talk medical horror stories till the cows came home.
Oh, how fun. Is this, my mom would start singing It's a Small World.
Yes, I can hear it.
Yeah.
But that's what you feel like when you see that. I had on the cruise I did before this one, there were two ladies on board that had been to high school together and they hadn't seen each other since high school. And the one went up and went, "Is that you?" And she went, "No." And they'd even sat in the same dining room and just passed each other. But it must have been when the light was right, or she just caught a glimpse and thought, "This is Mary Ellen, you know." And it was Mary Ellen. So, yeah, it's great when you see these things.
I could never, anyways, that's awesome.
Yes, well, we tend to get like-minded people. So in the end, it's sort of going to happen, you know.
Yes. It's also just a great experience, you know, a vacation in general.
Yes, yes. And you don't, I can't guarantee that if you book and come that you'll meet an old school friend. But from our side, from ship side, that's nice to see, you know. It's these old friendships getting rekindled. Yeah.
That's fun. And they probably were on the same tours together and they got to just gossip about all those old people they went to school.
Sure. What are they up to now? And
oh, my goodness. She has 3 kids. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Fantastic time. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to guests if they were for their first Ama cruise?
Yes. I think when you're coming for the first Ama cruise or any Ama cruise, a couple of things I would highly recommend. One of those would be insurance. Really have insurance. And when you're booking with your travel advisor, just add the insurance. Because if something happens, Europe has cobblestones on top of its cobblestones. If you trip and something happens, you want to know that you're covered. You really do. And because the cruise manager will be looking after that person, were they sadly to get injured or something was to happen. So we see this often enough to know what happens when you walk into a medical facility and they say, "Have you got insurance?" And if you say yes, you go straight in that door. And if you say no, then it's a completely different experience. So I would really highly recommend that. The other, which it doesn't have to be the AmaWaterways pre-cruise, although I would really recommend that, but just to come in a couple of days earlier. We had the same situation on this particular cruise where people are flying in on the day. There's a storm somewhere. In this case, there was some snow in Newcastle in England, and all of a sudden you don't have your luggage and it's the first day of your cruise. So it's the biggest thing I would say is even if you don't do the pre-cruise with us, then just do a pre-cruise anyway. Just come earlier if you can, so that what happens then? Arrival day, the ship is ready for you to walk on at 3:00 in the afternoon. That means it's ready for you to come on. So the welcome is prepared. So if you're awake, got your luggage, ready to go, walk on at 3:00, your cruise has started. You're not arriving 9:00 at night from a transfer from the airport. Just can't wait to get to bed because poof, that day's gone. You know, it's coming in early is the secret. And I think if you've got the time, really, like for instance, here, Budapest, we finished, stay longer, book a hotel and enjoy the city if you can. It's, if you don't have time constraints, don't go on that flight straight home. Stay longer in Budapest.
I will double down on this because normally I usually do at least 2 or 3 days pre just to get used to the time change as well.
Sure, absolutely.
I didn't do that this time because I really wanted to experience AmaWaterways. And so I like this cruise fits perfectly into my time schedule. My luggage got delayed. I didn't get on the cruise until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So the first 3 days of my trip were just getting over jet lag, getting over all of that sort of stuff. And it was just hard to like get going.
Yeah.
So being able to have that like 2 or 3 days where you're slowly getting used to it, you're having coffee in a cafe at 10 a.m. versus like when you're on a river cruise, it's a go adventure. It's not like you are just like chilling the whole time because we have excursions in the morning and sometimes in the afternoon. And you guys are just trying to push in so you can see as much of these beautiful countries as you can. But that is not like a slow adventure.
It's not a beach holiday.
No, it is not a beach holiday. No. It's not Cancun.
It's up to you. It's really...
You don't have to do...
It's always your choice, yeah. And we, at the start of the cruise, we say, once the gangway is down, if you want to go ashore, you go. If you want, you don't have to do anything apart from the safety briefing. That is mandatory, but that is the only mandatory thing that we do. So it's up to you what you do. But as you say, if you fly in on the day, it could even be you're on a cruise where the ship sails that night. And if that happens, we sail and you're still on your way. So it's really, really come early because the days, if you divide the cost of the cruise over the 7 days, you blow that first day, you know, and they're expensive days. So you want to make the most. The welcome cocktail shouldn't be, I can't wait for this to be over. That should be fantastic. Let's meet these other people, you know. So that's why I recommend the coming in early.
Yeah. No, I definitely recommend that as well. Yeah. Now that I have tried to do it and push through it, it is hard.
The other thing I would do too, which is a new thing, I think coming up in recent times, is the benefits of having a mobile phone, which is connected to the internet while you're away from the ship. And this has become much, much cheaper than it used to be. It's not a case of going and buying a SIM card when you arrive. Many new phones now can handle these eSIMs.
I have one on my phone. You can download a second SIM.
I think we prepared this earlier, but we didn't.
I did not.
I had a family. I had a husband and wife and their 3 teenage daughters and the father. And so they need megabytes. And he'd got eSIMs for all of their phones. It cost them like $30 for the week. And they were all connected the whole time. If you don't have that, then as soon as you leave the ship, your phone is just a camera. That's what it turned into, you know?
Yeah.
But the eSIM's brilliant.
Oh, it's amazing because I pay for my phone, like my phone number, but the data they gave me is like half a gig and it doesn't do anything. Okay. So then I have an eSIM so that I can like be posting and doing things, but I still can like text people because the eSIM is usually an international number.
Yep.
So I have both working at the same time.
Yeah. So you could use Uber or something on the shore?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can use Uber on the shore, but I can also text my best friend, you know, with my personal phone number. And it's not like it's some weird +331 number that he's seeing.
Expensive?
It was $30 for like 20 gigs.
It's
and so
much cheaper than it was.
Yes, it is. Because I'm still paying like $5 a day for my internet through my company for international, so through Xfinity, because I want to be able to call and text with my phone number, you know, in case anyone calls to book travel while I'm on vacation or if any sort of people who are on vacation this week have an emergency. But that, of course, is not required.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's the nice part.
Wi-Fi is included on the ship. So it's just when you're away and you're so used to having your phone to answer that Google question, when was Queen Victoria born? And you can't do that. Now you're sitting in that cafe. Now I can't use my phone. Whereas if you've got that eSIM, and I think the phone needs to be like 2-3 years old, and then they'll be able to handle it. So it's worth looking at before you come.
Yeah, no, it was pretty. Airlo is who I use.
Okay.
Yeah, right. It's like an app you just download and it's really easy.
Yep.
Okay, so to wrap up, I wanted to thank you so much for your time, and I know you're busy. Right. I have the Christmas markets I'm going to run to before our Hungarian folklore because I'm super excited about that. How has this role changed or influenced your personal perspective on travel? How has, being a cruise manager and doing this really affected what you consider travel or how you do things?
I suppose it mainly comes from my background working with people doing coach holidays through Europe and, well, internationally. That's coach holidays is where I come from, where most of my colleagues come from too, where you're packing and you're unpacking every day. You're arriving into hotels late. You're up and going first thing in the morning, which they're not bad. I'm not running down coach tours. That's where I come from. But this is just so different. If you don't feel like going on that, often with a coach tour, it's going from A to B. It's going to see C on the way. But if you don't feel well, you still have to go on the bus to get there because it's going to go to the next place. Whereas with us, if for some reason you don't feel like doing that day, then you can watch a movie, you can watch a bit of TV.
You can go to the massage because that's what I did today. I got a massage this morning and then the excursion did not happen. I took a nap.
Or hair.
Oh,
hair
salon,
hair
done?
You can see?
Yeah.
Yes, I recommend her.
Yes, she's done wonders to you.
She has. She gets a wonderful shine. She does it with love. But the choice is yours. You can be as active as you want, do as little as you want. As far as I know, we're the only company that has a wellness host on every single ship. And this person is dedicated to making you exercise. And the way that they do that is they run a series of classes through the day, but they're also on the ship. So if you never go with them, you have to walk past him at some stage with that guilty look on your face. I'm coming tomorrow. I promise I'm coming tomorrow. But he does great stuff. Like Stan is our wellness host on this. And it's just stretching classes in the morning, bit of yoga, something like that. He'll take you for a digestive walk. And it's just wonderful. It's up to you. The thing is, if you want to do everything we offer, you have to do the same cruise 3 times.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing so this is my second Danube cruise.
Yes.
And we only repeated 3 stops.
Okay.
And of that, Passau, you guys offer the Salzburg extension, which I hadn't done before.
Good.
And so only Vienna and Budapest were repeated. Every other day was new for me.
Great.
Because the Danube is so long,
yes.
and even if I started in the same areas, there's so many different ports that you can do. So you can do the same cruise multiple times and do different experiences on every single one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even this cruise, even though it's a touch of Christmas cruise,
we did everything Christmas.
Yeah, but we still do the city tour of Vienna. We still do the city tour of Salzburg. We still do the bike tour. We still do all the tours we do. We just add Christmas. It's like when we do wine cruises. We still do everything we would normally do. We just add wine events. It's not like we take stuff out. We just add stuff to it. So if you hate Christmas, some people do book Christmas because they hate Christmas, because they want to get away from Christmas, and then they walk into this floating snow globe. They regret that. But they can do non-Christmas based tours every single day if they wanted to. That's absolutely no problem. It's up to them. Mm.
But the whole place is decorated absolutely gorgeous. I will tell you that.
Yes. The man in charge was born in Las Vegas.
Oh, that makes sense.
He is Mr. Christmas.
I love it so much.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
And it's been so interesting just to learn about your role and how amazing it is to kind of be able to help everyone on the cruise.
It's a pleasure. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, here's to another 19.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Thanks for listening to our last episode of the River Cruise Masterclass. If you would love to know more about what we do, you can head to our Facebook group, Sail the Rivers, Tips and Destinations, where we focus on all kinds of fun facts and deals for the best river cruise you've ever been on. And if you have been looking at going on a trip, reach out to me, Sydney. I am the owner of the Poodle Booked It. Anyways, I hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you for listening.